Welcome back, YouTubers, to Politics of Deception. What I got for you is the first part of the Kamala Harris interview with CNN. There is a lot of criticism that this was a waste of time. Some say she did very well during this interview. Comment below what you think, if this was a good interview. So let me know how well she did. Do you think she's going to have a good debate against Trump, or she's going to have tough time? As we know that Tulsi Gabbard has been going over with Trump some key points to key points with Trump on how to debate Kamala Harris, because the Tulsi Gabbard already debated against Kamala. But I don't think Trump will have absolutely no issues debating Kamala. So again, this is the first portion of the debate not too long ago. So what I've done, some of the statements that Kamala answered, I've broken down and I did some research on her answers, and this is what I came up. And you can do your own research and don't take this for a grain of salt. This is the best answer that I got. So comment below what you think on these answers, and comment below, and I would greatly appreciate if you support the channel and share, like, and subscribe, so I can keep bringing you more of this content. So some of the key points that I will touch base on is on mismanaging of the COVID-19 that that Kamala brings up, is one of the key points that she touched bases on. And she also touched bases on inflation, and other key points that they talk about on the interview is the tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers that they talk about. That's I don't know how well that's gonna go, if that ever comes into effect. Also, another key point that she talks about is the insulin. So that's an interesting topic. So I also elaborate on that key point. Another key point that I also talk about is the child tax credit. I also compare between Kamala's policy, and also compared to Trump's policy on the child credit that Trump wants to his policies. I talk about that. Another key point is fracking. That's very interesting, so stay tuned for that. That's, if you haven't heard about it, stay tuned for that, because that's pretty interesting on what Kamala has stated. Yeah, that's pretty interesting to listen to. Another thing that talks about is the creating over 300,000 jobs on no clean energy jobs that she states that was created under her and the Joe Biden administration. So those are some of the key points that I searched and talk about that. So I'll be breaking through the interview, and I talk about what I came up with after Kamala talks about those key points. All right, and I appreciate you listen to this video, and please support the channel. It is much appreciated, and let me know what you think of the video, and if there is future videos that you are interested in me to show for future reference, let me know and comment below and what you think of the video that I put up and other videos. It helps me to improve on future videos. And comment below and let me know what you think. All right, appreciate it, and see you shortly. And all right, thanks. Take care and enjoy the video, and hopefully you like the research that I came up with. All right, see you shortly, and enjoy the clips.
You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability. One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis.
During Trump's year in office, 2020, the U.S. recorded approximately 385,000 COVID-19 deaths. By the time Trump left office in January 2021, the pandemic had already caused significant casualties due to the early delays in response, the lack of widespread testing, and limited vaccine availability at the time. During Biden's first year in office, 2021, the U.S. saw a continuation of COVID-19 deaths, particularly with the emergence of the Delta and Omicron variants. In 2021, the total number of COVID-19 deaths was approximately 475,000. The higher deaths toll during Biden's first year is largely attributed to the spread of new, more contagious variants and ongoing vaccine hesitancy in large portions of the population. Both administrations face different phases of the pandemic, but these are the numbers reported based on available data from the CDC and other health organizations.
When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America, and today we know that we have inflation at under 3%.
Inflation under Donald Trump 2017 through 2020. The average inflation rate during Trump's presidency was relatively low. From 2017 to 2020, it was average about 1.9% per year, according to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The 2020 inflation, due to the pandemic economics slowdown, inflation was particularly low at around 1.2%. The inflation under Joe Biden, under the year 2021, 2023, inflation increased significantly during Biden's presidency due to factors like supply chain disruptions, pandemic recovery, spending, and energy price hikes. The year 2021 inflation began to rise, averaging about 4.7% for the year. The year 2022 the inflation peaked at 9.1% in June of 2022, but averaged around 8% per year. In the year 2023, the inflation it began to moderate, but remained higher than pre-pandemic levels, averaging around 3% in the first half of the year. Trump's average inflation between the year of 2017 and 2020 was at 1.9%, and Biden's inflation between the years of 2021 and 2023, it peaked at 9.1%, average higher at from 5 to 6% over his first 2 years.
A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it, which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging, what we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years, what we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers.
Impact of middle-class families. If funded through increased taxes on higher income individuals and corporations, middle-class families might not see their taxes go up significantly to cover this program. However, if other forms of funding are used, like borrowing or budget relocations, middle-class families could potentially be impacted indirectly by reduced spending on other services or increased national debt. In short, the funds of Kamala's proposed $25,000 tax credit will likely come from a mix of increased taxes on wealthy, closing tax loopholes, or reallocation of the federal budget. However, the exact mechanism would depend on broader fiscal policies implemented by the administration. Insulin. Donald Trump's actions on insulin. In July 2020, Trump signed an executive order aimed at reducing insulin costs for low-income Americans. This section directed community health centers that provide care to low-income patients to offer insulin and EpiPens to discounted rates. The order focused on federally qualified health centers and required them to pass along savings from insulin and EpiPens purchases of patients. The limitations are: this order only applied to low-income patients receiving care at these health centers. It did not broadly cap insulin prices or address costs of seniors or those covered by Medicare. The executive order faced some challenges and wasn't fully implemented before Trump left office, and its scope was limited. Joe Biden's action on insulin.
So they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%. The work that we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Never happened. We did it.
Donald Trump's actions on insulin. In July 2020, Trump signed an executive order aimed at reducing insulin costs for low-income Americans. This section directed community health centers that provide care to low-income patients to offer insulin and EpiPens to discounted rates. The order focused on federally qualified health centers and required them to pass along savings from insulin and EpiPens purchases of patients. The limitations are: this order only applied to low-income patients receiving care at these health centers. It did not broadly cap insulin prices or address costs of seniors or those covered by Medicare. The executive order faced some challenges and wasn't fully implemented before Trump left office, and its scope was limited. Joe Biden's action on insulin. Under Joe Biden's administration, the Inflation Reduction Act of August 2022 made significant changes to insulin pricing, capped insulin costs for Medicare recipients at $35 per month. Effective 2023, this change applies broadly to seniors covered by Medicare Part V, and significantly reduces their out-of-pocket costs for insulin. The law represents a more comprehensive approach by making insulin more affordable for all Medicare beneficiaries, not just those in specific income brackets or at certain healthcare centers. Additionally, the Biden administration has sought to expand the cap to all Americans beyond Medicare, but broader efforts have faced oppositions on Congress. Here are some key differences. 1. The scope. For Trump, it focused on low-income Americans at at federal qualified healthcare center, affecting a small target population. For Biden, aimed at all seniors or Medicare, capped insulin at $35 per month. The implementation, Trump's executive order was limited in reach and impact and faced implementation challenges. For Biden, legislation was enacted into law providing a broader and more impactful solution for insulin affordability. Number 3, the target audience. Trump low-income patients at specific health centers. For Biden, seniors or Medicare, with potential for future broader legislation to benefit all insulin users. So, Trump's initiative provided target relief for a specific group, but Biden's effort had a more widespread and lasting effect, particularly for seniors or Medicare. Biden's administration passed actual legislation with a capped price, while Trump actions was more limited in a scope and reach. So I think there is a difference between the two. So Trump's was a more limited and Biden's was a more widespread. But actually, Trump was the one that first started, and Biden just finished what Trump has started.
So now, as I travel in the state of Georgia and around our country, the number of seniors that have benefited, I was in Nevada recently, a grandmother who showed me her receipts. And before we capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, she was paying hundreds of dollars, up to thousands of dollars a month for her insulin. She's not doing that any
You
longer.
maintain Bidenomics is a success.
I maintain that when we do the work of bringing down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000, when we do what we did in the first year of being in office to extend the child tax credit so that we cut
Donald Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act 2017 increased credit amount. The Tax Credit Job Act raised the child tax credit from $1,000 to $2,000 per qualified child. Income households. The Tax Credit Job Act increased the income threshold for receiving the full credit, allowing more families to qualify for the credit. Refundability. The refundable portion of the credit was increased to $1,400 per child, which means families could receive this amount even if they didn't owe federal income tax. Temporary measures. The changes made by the Tax Credit Job Act were set to expire after 2025 unless extended or made permanently by future legislation. Now, Kamala Harris' current proposal and goals. Expansion and extension. Kamala Harris has supported extending and expanding the child credit to provide more substantial and long-term benefits. This includes extending the expansion seen in the American Rescue Plan, which temporarily increases the child tax credit to $3,600 per child under 6 years of age, and $3,000 per child ages 6 through 17 years of age. Permanent changes. Harris has advocated for making the child tax credit permanent to continue reducing child poverty more effectively. Increased refundability. Harris's proposal often include making the child tax credit fully refundable, meaning families would receive the full amount even if they have no tax liability, which would benefit more low-income families.
So that we cut child poverty in America by over 50%. When we do what we have done to invest in the American people and bringing manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, bringing business back to America, what we have done to improve the supply chain so we're not relying on foreign governments to supply American families with their basic needs, I'll say that that's good work. There's more to do, but that's good work.
I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, "There is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
Kamala Harris's shift in stance on fracking can indeed seem like a change in values, but it often reflects to complexities on navigating political realities and policy making. Here's in more context. Number one, evolving context. During her first time in the Senate, Harris supported the Green New Deal, which included a call to ban fracking. This was consistent with a broader progressive push to aggressive climate policies. However, as she moved into national campaign and then the vice presidency, the context shifted. The political landscape and the need to appeal for a wider electorate, including those in states where fracking is economically significant, influenced her stance. Balancing act. Number two. In national politics, especially in a country as diverse as the U.S., elected officials often face the challenge of balancing campaign promises with the practicalities and governance. For Harris, this meant navigating between ambitious climate goals and the economic realities of industries like fracking, which have significant impacts on the jobs and local economies. Number three, values and pragmatism. Harris has stated that her core values and climate changes and environmental protection remain intact. The difference is in the approach of achieving those goals. While she has not pursued as immediate ban on fracking, her administration still supports transitioning to renewable energy and addressing climate changes through other measures. In essence, while it might appear as a change in values, it's often a reflection of the need to adapt strategies in responses to changing circumstances and broader political considerations.
In 2019, I believe, at a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed in that campaign?
In 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position at the time?
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs.
The claim of creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs can be seen as part of the broader efforts to expand the clean energy sector, though the exact number can vary based on the specific policies and initiatives in place. So here's a closer look at how these jobs might add up. Number one, renewable energy installations. The solar and wind industries alone have been significant sources of new jobs. For example, the Solar Energy Industries Association and the American Wind Energy Association report thousands of jobs in this sector annually. Number two, energy efficiency. The push for energy efficiency buildings and retrofits has led to substantial job growth. Programs to improve building codes and retrofits existing structures contribute to job creation in this area. Number three, manufacturing the supply chain. The growth in clean energy technology has spurred job creation in manufacturing and supply chains. This includes jobs in producing components for solar panels, wind turbines, and batteries. Number four, research and development. Investments in R&D for clean energy technologies can also lead to significant job creations and research industries and private companies. Number five, environmental and policy roles. The growth in environmental protection and policy roles related to clean energy can contribute to job creations, though these roles might not always be as numerous as installations or manufacturing jobs. Number six, construction and engineering. Building new clear energy infrastructure such as wind farms and solar arrays can also generate thousands of jobs. Number seven, education and training. The growth of educational and training programs related to clean energy also contributes to job creation. Verification and context. Data sources, which is variation reports and studies from organizations such as the U.S. Department of Energy, industry associations, and labor markets analysis can provide specific numbers. Economic studies. Studies of organizations like the International Renewable Energy or the National Renewable Energy Laboratories often track job creations in the clean energy sectors. While the exact number of 300,000 new jobs can vary based on the time frame and specific policies, it's reasonable to believe that substantial job growth has occurred in the clean energy sector due to increased investment and policy support. However, for a precise number of variation, it is useful to consult specific reports and data from relevant agencies and organizations.
That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, excuse me, I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking as vice president. So I'm very clear about where I stand.
And was there some policy or scientific data that you saw that you said, oh, okay, I get it now?
What I have seen is that we can grow and we can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.